Hey, what's up guys? In this video we're gonna talk about the best Lightstone combos and the best artifact that you can ever run in BDO. Depending on where you grind, depending on the class that you play, how you play, it can be a little bit different, so please check out the entire video, hang out. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video, add a comment, support the video, thank you. So by starting off, you always want to run the Kabua artifact. They are always best in slot artifacts when it comes to PvE. Usually always recommended an all-out attack Lightstone combo. Usually in more places that you don't cap out, this is always going to be the best in slot. It gives you so much AP, 20 AP, and it also gives you free critical hit damage. You don't really need to focus too much on all of the negatives here, like the DP damage reduction or the evasion reduction. In PvE, usually AP is king. So the only thing that you kind of have to think about for PvE usually is just having enough damage output. If you can kill the monster before they hit you, that's good. Usually you don't really get hit, you have a lot of protections, the better you can play a class, you can move around. You don't need to worry about DP, usually. So this is the one that I recommend for most of the places, especially if you can't cap out. If you can cap out, usually we can take a look here. You usually want to have a few different ones depending on where you want to grind. So, for example, if you can cap out in a place, in a specific place, you could use a Vicious Shadow Lightstone combo right there. It's gonna give you some back attack. It's gonna give you some. Let me show you. Some monster AP, back attack, and critical hit damage. So, for example, if you're capping out in Gyfen, this one could be very good, because most of the attacks that you do is going to be back attack damage. You don't necessarily have to think about like adding more AP and stacking AP, because the critical hit modifier is going to give you more DPS. The same thing kind of works for specific monster AP. So if you're capping out, let's say in Gyfen as well, it could be very good to use specific monster AP like Camasylvian damage. Now, in a place like Gyfen, like I just said, you want to focus on back attack, so the Vicious Shadow would be better. But let's say that you're doing Ash Forest. Maybe most of the attacks, depending on what class you play, maybe you don't get most of the attacks as back attack. So in Ash Forest, if you're capping out, maybe the Camasylvian damage would be better for you. So yeah, it would be better for you if you don't do that much back attack damage. So specific monster AP is very good in places where you don't, where you do cap out, and where most of the damage is not back attack damage. So another example, Orc. Orc are demi-human, so if you're capping out at Orc, usually nowadays you'll be blasting, you have so much AP nowadays, the monsters are gonna die so quickly that like back attack damage doesn't really, usually they just die. So in a place like Orc, you stacking demi-human damage might be a very good idea. It's gonna go a little bit above the cap. If you're capping out, regular AP has like a 70-30 ratio of what you're gonna get as a bonus. Sometimes it doesn't really work like that, but most of the times it does. Specific monster AP and monster AP, they have a different value if you're capping out that is bigger than that. So that is usually why you would recommend specific monster AP if you're capping out. So depending on what class you play, depending on how you play it, depending on how many back attacks you get in, depending on if you can benefit more from having critical hit damage and stuff like that, like big AoEs, maybe you're not moving too much. you have to use the different lightstone combos here. And this one used to be a very good lightstone combo for places like the crypt. Nowadays we don't really play in the crypt in endgame, but depending on, again, what class you play, a lot of classes used to benefit having this artifact right here, the lightstone combo. Me personally, I played with back attack in the crypt back in the days, but it was just because I focused more on back attack. To kind of sum it all up here, if you don't have enough AP to cap out, make sure that you do, and the all-out attack lightstone combo is going to be the best one for you. You never really have to think about DP in PVE, unless the monsters are doing big AoEs, they're going to hit you. And then when it comes to places where you do cap out, it depends a little bit on the place, but like if it's demi-humans or Camasylvia monsters or regular humans, if I were to go to giants, for example, I would have human damage. And then depending on if I go to Gyfin or Darkseeker, you do most of the attacks like back attack. Now the new Darkseeker, they have such a high AP cap that playing with all-out attack would usually be better. Because you're not really reaching the cap. So depending on what class you play, how the mobility looks like, if you get in like a lot of back attacks, or if you're stationary, you hit them in the face, it depends a little bit on what you want to use here. So that is everything that you kind of need to know about Lightstones and Artifact. And thank you guys for watching. Give the video a like, subscribe, and see you guys in the next one.